Hey everyone, welcome back to Play Casket with another episode of Your Turn. We're going to go ahead and recap a couple of things that, honestly, I wasn't much aware of things going on this week. But you were.
Yeah, it's been a slow week, but at least some stuff happened, but yeah.
Yeah, some stuff happened. Like, a lot of stuff that doesn't even seem like that big of an issue, but there was a couple interesting things that did happen. And I'm going to go ahead and just let you kind of select them all because I was working on a lot of other stuff.
Okay. So in, I guess, a second lawsuit, or is it a third lawsuit?
Or a fourth lawsuit.
Yeah. Blizzard gets in trouble again.
Wah, wah.
So, another allegation. We'll see what happens, but for the most part, it still seems really fishy. I think for the most part, HR should just tell them no more relationships with any kind of people whatsoever within the workplace. Like, it's very vague on what they give us, but for the most part, it just kind of sounds like a guy was kind of hitting on somebody below him, which is something still really dumb to do, but at the same time, like, it happens. I don't know. You got 1 trillion people, 2 or 3 people are going to date. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Like,
so, first and foremost, the reason why and I'm going to say this, and I know this isn't going to be a protection of Blizzard or defense of Blizzard, because quite honestly, we have a mini series of us just taking dumps on Blizzard and Overwatch and everything else.
Yeah.
So, this isn't about a Blizzard thing. In essence, it has to be vague. Because that does tell me that there's some kind of legal ramifications that's already in place or being processed. So it's purposely vague because you're not allowed to talk about the details of what's going on. Like, technically, that's why when people come out and go, oh, here's all the details of the things that they did to me at this this company, blah, 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 and just like completely like eviscerate them in all the details, that's why I don't buy into it. And because I don't buy into it is because it seems like it's an appeal to just internet fame.
yeah.
Like, they want to tear down the company because they don't like them, and they're going to make up shit.
Well, the thing is, like, yeah, they should just drop it all in one go, but it's like, no, we're going to give you a little bit of information at a time until the court date happens to milk it as much as they can. It's like, no,
Yeah,
just
to
drop
get
it all
as much of your limelight as possible. And even then, like, it's sad that investigations have to happen after somebody goes public. And people are like, well, it's because they weren't listening before. Maybe because they already knew she was full of shit. You know what I mean? Like, when you think about it, like, why would they come out with all this? And they keep trying to justify it. It's okay when I do it, but no. Like, there is a lot of legal channels that you can go through and have this resolved the way justice is resolved. You just don't think that justice is enough.
Yeah.
Like, you want to burn the whole company down because you're scorned by one person. Like, that's the problem. And I think that is inherently what's going on with a lot of people. And in fact, there's been people on record going online saying, man, I wish they did more to these people. I wish they did more. Like, people accusing certain companies for harassment. Like, man, I wish they really just gutted that whole management system and all that. And they wanted damage. They didn't really want justice.
Yeah.
So when there's vagueness, that tells me there's more going on. You know, that at least it tells me, like, look, this is what's going on. We can't really go into details about it and all that. Second thing, yes, people are going to date. It's inherent, but it's very, like, honestly, don't date with, don't shit where you eat.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't do it. Don't cop a squat on your dinner table and do that. And that's it's you can date, but it never really turns out all that well.
Yeah.
Like, there's very few stories that are like, oh, these are success stories. Yeah, those success stories, but look how many times it fails.
Yeah.
You know, do you want to be one of those statistics? It's safer to just, like, pick somebody up at the gym or pick up somebody at the library or
when you
whatever.
got other departments going to war, holy shit.
Yeah. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, why would you... Hell, you can reduce it down to a good metaphor for a lot of people who can relate. Why would you date if you work at Walmart, why would you date somebody in Walmart who can also then talk to another person in a department, and then you have multiple departments going at each other, like some kind of weird territory war that's similar to like the medieval century? You know, like it's stupid. It is beyond stupid, and everybody already knows that's like when even if you're working part-time in a retail store and you're just doing like 10 hours a week and you're just like, I just need some extra money, most people already know that's not a good idea to date anybody there.
Yeah.
Why would you do that in your career situation?
Well, there's going to be animosity, and then once you ask the second department to help you out, there's going to be a lot of friction. Like,
yeah, and on top of that, what would happen if that relationship goes sour? Mm-hmm. You're gonna have to see that every day.
Yeah.
And then what if one of you moves on and the other one's not yet, quote unquote, moved on yet? You're gonna have to see that every day.
Yeah.
So, and then what happens? Your existence of a post-relationship life at work is now considered a hostile situation. Like, where do we go from there? Do we punish the guy because he cheated on her? Or do you punish the guy because he broke up with somebody? It's like, he broke up with me. We need to make his life bad because I thought everything was going right. Like, that's, like, what do you want? You know? Mm-hmm. And you're going to quit because you're going to think just don't do it. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
And men, especially men, you guys literally have everything on the line for it. The woman can be the worst person there, and she will keep her job. They will rather let you go over her.
Yeah.
Because they do not want the PR. They just don't want the PR. They rather you get, like, ransacked for life than let her get fired and get hired somewhere else. Like, it's just that much damage.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. It is not worth it. Whoever ever does that, like, honestly, you're taking the biggest, ballsiest choice and chance on life ever, because it could destroy your entire career, how spiteful some of these people are.
Yeah, I guess the person who's doing this too is also going after I guess it was somebody who was on the Call of Duty team. So they want... The person who's filing the lawsuit also wants the CEO of Call of Duty to get fired.
Yeah.
And all this stupid stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So if there's camaraderie and she has some kind of aggression towards one, she's going to go after everyone. She's like, you're his friend, you're against me. Like, don't do it. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's beyond stupid.
But that's the type of people they cultivate. Yep. So
they hired those people. They live in California. Expect Californian minds. That's all it is. It's just simian, think with genitalia nonsense. It's stupid. It is stupid. It is beyond stupid. So. And
speaking of stupid decisions, Cartoon Network is dying. Or is it dead?
Segue.
Is it gone?
It's basically dead. It's going to be being shuttered. It's already announced that they're going to be closing it. So basically it's dead. They're finishing up whatever projects they have from now, and they're going to be rolled into Warner Brothers.
Oof. So because basically they fired 25% of their staff, and then they're going to merge Cartoon Network with Warner Brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn.
So, 30 years, dude. 30 years, man. But you gotta think about it, too. Animation's getting more and more pricey.
Yeah.
Because wherever animation studios are like the most expensive places in the country. You know?
This might sound crazy, but they could just hire competent people, you know?
Yeah.
Nuts.
Well, the thing is, in order to hire competent people, that costs money too.
Yeah.
It's easier to hire a small group of people who are incompetent with a simplistic mind and a simplistic style.
We told you so.
On the cheap end. And the thing, well, it's not even just woke though. It's not even just that. Mm-hmm. Like, just in general, some of the cartoons don't hook.
Yeah, they don't have that bite anymore like they used to.
Well, no, they don't hook kids anymore, and I don't think it's because it's the cartoon's fault. Mm-hmm. Part of it is, but it's also because the way, like, think of it this way: when we grew up, remember how everybody loved the Teen Titans animated series, and they hated the fact that it ended in a cliffhanger and all that. Like it was probably the worst way to end it and stuff, like, for everyone, right? Then they made Teen Titans Go, and people were furious. This is like 4, 5, 6 years later.
Yeah.
And they make this show. And like, what? Why would you do that? Well, you should have just continued the other thing.
But Go did really well.
Because here's the problem with that. Okay, Go did well because it's short, 10-15 minute bursts that kids can watch and just absorb the laugh, jokey and stuff, and we'll watch another because it made them feel better.
Well, the thing is, there's no continuity to go through too.
The problem with it, well, you don't have. Well, they have some kind of continuity, but ultimately,
like the reason why like Family Guy, South Park, and Simpsons does so well is because you could drop into episode 1200 and
still kind of
still
get
enjoy
something.
It.
Yeah.
But if you drop in the middle of Naruto at episode 1200, you're like, what the hell just happened? Like,
yeah. well, even on top of that, like, the problem with why they stopped the first Teen Titans is our fault. They didn't just go, oh, I just don't want to do it anymore and stop.
Yeah.
No. Nobody was watching it. Nobody was watching it.
Yeah.
The ratings showed that nobody was watching it, and it would cost them money to continue working on it. Why would they work on it just to finish it up?
Yeah.
You weren't watching it, and then you were upset that you can no longer just watch it anymore.
Which reminds me about Hulu,
Same thing with Ben 10. Ben 10 had that same issue. And that's why they made that other Ben 10 universe one that they did, because that Ben 10 also ended on a weird note too. And it's funny because it's like the newer generation's Teen Titans.
Yeah.
People are like, oh man, I miss Ben 10. I'm like, oh, well, welcome to the club, dude. It literally happened to us.
I don't know. Just watch what your kids watch, because we have like Kamen Rider, and that shit's so fucking cool, right?
Yeah, but that's also, there's some kind of culture clash to that too. Like, some things you just don't understand with it, whereas like Power Rangers, even though they're using like Sentai, I think it's like Sentai Fighters or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're just using and superimposing like more of an
Of a
American
Western,
culture
yeah.
and stuff. Like, that works because when the parent watches it, they could relate to some of the stuff that's going on in it.
Yeah.
So I can understand why Power Rangers is more powerful than Kamen Rider here, and why Kamen Rider is only appreciated by like the weebiest of weebs. Like, let's be real here, there is a reason.
Yeah.
It will never be famous here for that reason.
Yeah.
There's just a certain culture behind it that just does not work in our culture. It works in Japanese culture because Japanese relate to a lot of the things that Kamen Rider does.
No, make your kid an outcast.
So-
Show him all that stuff. Right.
So well, I'm just saying in general. But that when you're thinking about going back to Cartoon Network, when you're thinking about the way it, and this has been going on for a while. Teen Titans was one. Was it a Foster's Imaginary Home is another. Like a several series that were great. Chowder was another, and all that. Like, they were really good. Like, in essence, when you look back, like, man, they were actually really crafty. They were really smart. People hated Chowder because they might as well just watch SpongeBob, because he was very similar to SpongeBob in the way it approached a lot of the humor and stuff. But when you look, there's a lot more nuance to it when you're looking back. You're like, oh man, it was good. Nobody was watching it then. They had to kill it. Nobody was watching Foster's. They had to kill it. Like, when you keep seeing that constantly kill, they run out of money.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not just the woke part. Like, oh, if we could just go woke. They honestly, this was one of the scenarios where I feel like they honestly had no other choice.
Oh, okay.
Because the rest of the other people who would watch it aren't watching it.
Yeah.
You know? Like, they might as well appeal to the woke crowd that literally sits around, argues on the internet, and watches cartoons, because they do nothing else with their life. They make up fake pronouns, they make up fake identities, and then they make everybody try to tell them and validate them that all their choices of how they feel is important and valid, and makes them feel important and valid. That's it. And they're like, what if we appeal to them? Because they're not, they could watch something. Surely they could watch something. And it tanks.
Yeah.
Like, well, why? Well, they just like the idea of stuff. They don't really do anything other than try to seek more validation.
Yeah.
They don't watch anything to enjoy stuff.
Hippies don't have money.
Hippies don't have money. They don't have an attention span. They don't have jack squat. Okay? They have nothing of value. And they just like finding things to to be offended about, so they can change it, so they can pat themselves on the back, and that's it. They will not watch the nuance of something else. They're like, wait, this particular scene, isolated to itself, offends me. But the context would tell me why I shouldn't be offended by that scene. But that scene, though, gotta change that.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the problem is. And I think that's where Cartoon Network Studio is going. Which sucks, because I was a huge fan of Johnny Bravo. Rant over. But no, like, honestly, what out of this, like, just looking back, what was one of your favorite, like, Cartoon Network Studio cartoons?
Damn, I like it. It was the 90s stuff. Had Eddie, Dexter's Lab, Johnny Bravo.
Cow and Chicken.
Cow and Chicken was really good. Also,
Cow and Chicken, dude, Cow and Chicken still feels like a weirdly new gen Ren and Stimpy, if that made sense.
Yeah.
Like, there's something about that Cow and Chicken that was really like, oh, you are literally the spiritual Ren and Stimpy.
They're over the line, but they don't step down. That's why I like them.
Yep. I think that's a good metaphor to that. Is there a series that you would have loved to have continued from back then?
Dexter's Lab. I love that one. I love that series.
I think the later ones kind of slogged off, but I do think Dexter's Lab was probably one of my favorites as well, actually. Dexter's Lab and Courage the Cowardly Dog was probably my two that I would go to. Okay. I like that stuff. I liked Courage the Cowardly Dog was kind of like spooky, like the way I like to think spooky is. You know, not horror and stuff. When I'm talking like spooky, like when I'm talking like Halloween games and I'm talking spooky, I'm talking about like the atmosphere is eerie and spooky. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I like that. I don't like, oh, you mean zombies and horror and gore and blood and demons and like no. Spooky.
Yeah.
Just spooky. You know?
Yeah.
Misty, foggy, abstract, obscured, stuff like that. Spooky. I like spooky. But no, I don't know. It's about. I'm sure it's about time to just. I don't know. It feels like an end of an era. I want to say, oh well, this sucks, but at the same time, knowing so much that I did know, watching it from afar.
We told you so.
Well, yeah, but I don't think. I honestly, even if they didn't go woke, they probably would have still went broke. Like,
gotcha. They have no direction where they're headed.
Well, nobody was watching their stuff. You know, like even their good stuff, nobody was watching, or else we would have had an ending to Teen Titans.
I don't know though, because like they could just rerun the old stuff like over and over and over again.
They do.
Yeah,
they do. It just nobody watches it there either because you can always go watch the old stuff.
No, okay, gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like what draws people in is trying to watch the newer stuff, but adults don't want to watch. Like, they don't want to stick around to watch the whole thing to the end, so it never gets a one.
Damn.
Hell, Freakazoid has an issue with that, too.
Mm-hmm.
Freakazoid and Earthworm Jim the cartoon both had no ending to it because people just stopped watching them.
No,
like, the ratings were just too low. And this was way before you can even go woke.
Yeah, but I hated when they would move the time slot or...
Yeah, because certain things would sell more. Turtles sold more. Turtles
it's an
probably
hour.
Killed Earthworm Jim.
Or it's an hour. Yeah, true. Or it's in like an hour after you get out of... Like, it's an hour ahead before you get out of school. So as soon as you come home, you catch like the last 5 minutes and that's it. Yeah. Shit like that.
Yeah, and I hated that too. I did hate that. But at the same time, like, ratings talked more.
Yeah.
Period. And even though most of the stuff in the 90s was made to sell merchandise. If your merchandise wasn't selling,
but yeah, they would buy the merchandise.
Yeah, like if your merch wasn't selling, you're not getting the prime slots.
Yeah,
Turtles is.
Yeah,
and that is it. And even the Turtles back then was pretty cool too.
Yeah, the toys are so badass now though. This is still so cool,
dude. Okay, so I've gone down toy aisles nowadays just to see how things changed. And there's some crazy shit out there. I'm actually upset that I am not a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like people go, well, you can still buy them. You can, but you're an adult, so you got to do adult stuff. You can't just play with the toy.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just make weird sound effects with your mouth anymore and go meow and like make this whole scenario. You don't get to do that for hours.
Yeah.
Like you don't get to do that anymore. You know, because then you just like look up and go, oh, I gotta do some adult stuff.
It's a cool desk piece that you put in your desk and you're like, okay, you're waiting for something to upload, and then you just pick it up, look at it, and put it down, and then you go back to work. Yeah,
yeah.
So,
and like, there's some stuff that like looks retarded, right? And for me, some of that stuff just like I'm like, why would you want that? And then I go, oh yeah, because I also had stupid stuff that age. Koosh balls, guys, koosh balls. And you know, like, I don't know. I go through the toys all the time, just surprised how much stuff has evolved.
Yeah,
like it's so ridiculous. So
maybe this is a sign of the times that we don't have those salesmen anymore, because people are super fickle too. So
yeah, people are fickle. The people who are buying most of the stuff are millennials who have a vapid way of life that they just need validation. Like, oh my god, they acknowledged my existence with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles being classic again. I need to buy the whole set. No, stop. Like seriously, dude. Like there's literally like new old Turtles toys. Like they're wrapped and aged like old ones, but they're like from new plastics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're just buying up because us as kids never got to buy the whole set. We only had a couple here, a couple there. And now there's people just buying them all over the place.
Yeah.
And then you got limited edition versions, so they're like chasing down all these chase figures and stuff. I mean, it's sad. Like, I can appreciate acknowledging some old stuff. Like, oh yeah, the Turtles. I remember that. You know? And like I probably would eventually buy them, but there's so much of it that I don't even want to. Like it kind of makes me feel bad that I even knew them back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's weird. Anyway, rant over. But
should we to boycott Bayonetta or not boycott Bayonetta?
We're not boycotting Bayonetta.
Yeah. Sorry, but I'm gonna buy the series.
No. So I had to do some research just before we started this too. So supposedly, Helena Taylor is her name. She apparently got lowballed for her payment for her voice work, right, for Bayonetta 3.
Yeah.
Now, her feeling like she was underpaid, totally justified. I am with her 100% on that. She should have negotiated that higher.
Yeah.
Period. Okay. And for people who go, oh, they were only in there for a couple days, record a couple. You record multiple lines of the same line repeatedly. Like, she would have been in there good solid 2-3 weeks at the easiest, right? At the easiest. Like, she would easily at least be there 3 weeks recording, if not longer.
Yeah.
Okay? So, negotiating that, she should have easily negotiated that. Like,
well, if anything,
that's
too,
it.
I have a feeling they probably used lines from 1 and 2 as well, too, if she would have stayed.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling it was that's why it was kind of low.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure like there's possibilities of that, honestly. And I think more along the lines is I think Platinum was trying to cut costs and kind of lowball her offer, hoping that she'd take it so they would be able to use that for other development aspects and stuff like that. But I think she was actually being undersold on that. I do think she should have negotiated that.
Yeah.
Okay. That being said, she went online to gather her crew and boycott Bayonetta because we needed to damage them because Scalebound wasn't enough damage to them after Microsoft.
Yeah.
No, we're not doing that. That is ridiculous. That is over the top and downright stupid. This is the whole cancel culture in a professional setting.
Yeah.
Like, that is just all it is. It's disgusting. It's yucky. It's unprofessional. Like, if I ran a game development company and I had like $12,000 to afford one voice actor, I wouldn't be hiring her because this is how what would look like if I don't match her needs.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Like, this, literally her doing this soiled her future projects.
Yeah. Everybody's going to be like, no, we're not going to touch this because
we're not going to touch the person who's willing to attack any other game that her voice is in. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I would find somebody else.
Yeah.
They might be worse, but they will probably be safer.
Yeah.
So, Helena Taylor, I appreciate her work. She did phenomenal in Bayonetta 1, 2, and in Smash Brothers, because she was the voice in Smash Brothers 2.
Yeah.
But sounds like the trilogy port into the Switch 2 is going to probably use the newer voice actor.
Oof.
Ooh, that's gonna leave a mark, wouldn't it?
Well, we'll see what 4 and 5 will bring us then. But yeah.
I'm expecting a trilogy before that.
Okay.
I'm expecting a reboot of the trilogy onto the Switch 2 and something to that point.
Okay.
I feel like that's the case.
Gotcha.
So, anything else we got to talk about?
Oh, and that's been kind of a slow week.
Rant over. But no, I would like to thank you all for coming down and listening to us and listening to me rant repeatedly on multiple topics, and Ghost sharing his opinions as well. So if you like our contents, feel free to like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you on the other side.